Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live talk show, Agile Wisdom Podcast. I'm Dilrukshan and Niro, your host for the day. Today, we are going to talk about something absolutely crucial and value-adding for you: entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is being a word that we have started uttering quite often than ever. A few years ago, you wouldn't have heard of the term entrepreneurship as frequently as you would hear it today. It's encouraging to see all the universities and institutions are very much focused on entrepreneurship. And also, a lot of people are keen to get started their career as entrepreneurs. Only the business people, the entrepreneurs who are just interested on the term entrepreneurship. A lot of companies insist that their employees should possess entrepreneurship mindset. In today's talk show, we are going to talk about the entrepreneurship. We are going to define it. We are going to talk about the challenges and resolutions around those challenges. Our guest for the day is an executive leadership coach, startup consultant, and 10x growth expert, and a keynote speaker. Please join me welcoming Dilrukshan Fernando.
Hi, Niroshan. It's my pleasure coming on your blog, and thank you so much for inviting me on a topic which I'm so impressed and talking to everyone. So, first and foremost, welcome everyone for Niroshan's program. And we are going to give a lot of value, a lot of content in terms of entrepreneurship. So, Niroshan will take you through the entire process. So, Niroshan, over to you. Let's take forward. Niroshan, hi, couldn't hear you properly, Niroshan, for some reason.
All right, so I was mute.
Right,
Hello,
right.
Dilrukshan. Do you hear me now? Yeah.
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 Yes,
So
you
thank
are
you
loud and
very
clear.
much for joining the show. It's it's my privilege to host you, and I'm sure the knowledge that you are gonna discover here is absolutely value adding for everyone out there, particularly those who are eager to become great entrepreneurs. You being one of the executive leadership coaches, particularly focusing on entrepreneurship and startups, I think this is so much value that you are trying to deliver complimentary. Yeah. So again, thank you for that offer.
Yes,
I think the community will
no
definitely
problem.
appreciate that. Right. So okay, so let's start the show. Thank you, Rochelle, for confirming. Appreciate it. Thank you, Sasank, for your message. Yes, yeah. So it's great to have you on the show as well. I see one of my previous colleagues, former colleagues, Kalpa Pereira, who has started his own entrepreneurship journey a few years ago, doing great, has joined the show. Thank you for joining us. And we see Jayanta Vikramasinghe. Jayanta, thank you very much for joining and commenting. Keep commenting and asking your questions. We will pick up them during the show, right? So to start, Dilrukshan, the very first question that I want to ask from you is uh, quite quite basic one, but I think it is important that we understand the term entrepreneurship before we jump into it, isn't it? So, can you tell us what exactly entrepreneurship means for you? What is the definition of entrepreneurship?
So for me, devotion entrepreneurship is about three things. First one, finding a problem in the market and creating a solution will be the first role every entrepreneur has to do. So he or she has to understand there are loads of problems in the market, but are you designing a solution to it? That's the first one. Second one, once you design a solution, are you creating a business model out of it? You create a product, you create a marketing platform, and you put it out to customers. And third one, when customers purchase it, are they having enough value? So entrepreneurship is about finding a market problem and designing solutions, building a business model, plus also understanding that you create value to the customer. So that's in whole entire what entrepreneurship is all about.
Excellent, short and sweet. I love it. Dilrukshan, just checking. Your sound, at least for me, doesn't sound very clearly.
Wait, I'll go through that. Do you hear me clearly
Yeah, if you can change the microphone. And
Yes, are you clear now? You think it's better? Or the earlier
maybe
version was better?
I think it's almost the same thing. Same
Just wait.
quality.
Yes, I'll try again. Just now, see, Hiroshi, is it audible now?
It didn't change. Can you check whether it's picking up the right mic?
Uh,
You're
yeah.
audible.
Do you hear me
Yeah,
properly now?
should be fine. Yeah, should be fine, Dilrukshan.
Right. Super. Okay.
Okay. Right. So thank you very much for that. Right. So that's really valuable to see your perspective. Yes. So it's what you think about the definition. Now the next question that I have for you is, if someone, let's say, someone wants to be an entrepreneur, right? I think the among the audience who will be watching us, there'll be several people who are eager to become entrepreneurs, but they kind of don't know the way out of it, right? The foundational steps. My next question for you is for them, trying to help them to figure out, okay, what are the foundational steps that one should take to become an entrepreneur?
Okay. So, if I give you a step-by-step process, if I would say anybody wants to become entrepreneur today, first and foremost, you need to understand what is your whole objective. Is it that there are two types of people? There are types of people who want to build a business, who want to ensure that they are on their own, start things on their own, and they are ready to face the market. That's the first part of the option. I would say on option A. Option B is that today I mean a lot of people who are already working for a corporate who want a side hustle, who want some extra income. That's the option B. So whatever you are doing, maybe on the option A, option B, what you need to understand is you need to come and understand entrepreneurship, as I said earlier, is trying to understand a problem in the market. For example, I'll give you a now one of the entrepreneur guys which I always encourage is we earlier when we want to have dinner from different restaurants, there were so many obstacles. We think about the drive, we think about the traffic, we still have to eat food, but we always think how it will be accessible. So what if Uber Eats came and we said, look, wherever you are, you stay, and from your favorite restaurant, we will give a solution through app, you can get the food delivered. So the market problem was, traveling, going to different destinations and eating food, and a lot of constraints was holding us back. Whereas Uber Eats came and said, look, none of these problems are there. We are coming in and giving you a solution. That's called Uber Eats. So I'm asking you, if anybody wants to become an entrepreneur, what are you trying to come and solve in the market? Is your product a solution to the market, any problem in the market, or are you just someone who's trying to put another product out which is already there? A lot of people come and ask me, can I be an online tutor? Can I start a mass company? So my question is, there are already a lot of people doing it. What is your unique selling proposition? You should come up with something where you understand people are waiting for. Because most of the people, the topic today is why 90% of entrepreneurs are failing. This because they don't understand this, because if you are launching something big, if your price points are very demandable, so people will definitely come and buy. But if you are launching something, whereas it's just another product in the market, nobody's gonna come and buy because people are gonna compare with everyone. So my first step would be find something unique for you, a unique selling proposition, and also you understand you create a small product out of it. Second step would be, moment you create a product, identify which segment you want to go and market. Now, everybody has a target customer segment. For me, my target customer segment is startup entrepreneurs, executive leadership people. Those are my startup entrepreneurs. They spend most of the time on LinkedIn. Whereas there are certain products which I know it is on a day-to-day basis, FMCG goods, maybe Facebook is good, maybe Instagram is good. Try to identify a target platform where they spend most of their time in, and then start marketing your product. First, identify a unique proposition, create a product out of it, then start marketing and see what is the customer feedback. Because none of us are ready today to hear what customer is telling. We are trying to see, look, this is my product, I'm launching it, buy or sell. Sometimes customers might give you an impression, say, look, your product is good, like he is ready to purchase. So sometimes the customers might say, look, your product is overpriced, or we don't see a value out of it. This is where the market will give you feedback, take revisions out of it, then slowly build your steps. Then you need to understand how does any business model has different functionalities. There is something called marketing, there's something called sales, there's something called operations, there's something called human resources, finance. Now you need to understand all these bills that to be made. If you are trying to do all these alone on you, I would say you are on a track. What will happen to you is while you are focusing on marketing, the sales function will be stuck. While I'm focusing on sales and marketing, the operation function will be stuck. So this I call the entrepreneur's dilemma, that every entrepreneur today thinks you start a business and you try to do everything on your own. So first identify a solution, create a product out of it, put it to the market. Now today digital platforms are giving you can create a page, you can put everything out, then look at the market feedback, then build your business model slowly. Because entrepreneurship is about a step-by-step game. If you rush faster, there's a lot of opportunity that you will quickly go out into it. So better to take a step-by-step approach, and also understand you need to constantly work with customers' feedback, because customers will constantly be listening. What is purchasing your product, your price points are right, your product is super. If people are not purchasing, don't get discouraged. It's just something is not right in your Niroshan, over to you again.
Thank you, Dilrukshan. Okay. Yeah, so great stuff. Right now, while you are explaining the foundational steps, one thing that came to my mind is because I know even in the corporate advertisements, right, for seeking for senior professionals, it doesn't have to be very senior, but even the executive level employees, I often see that there is a requirement, say, in entrepreneurial mindset, right? I think it's important. I mean, it's really great to see that this is happening, but at the same time, I'm kind of curious to see what you think about this particular topic, where we expect the professionals working for a company to be entrepreneurs, or no, people with entrepreneurial mindset. So what is your stance there, right? Should, now example, if I'm a software engineer, or if I'm a business analyst, if I'm an electrical engineer, should I possess some entrepreneurial competencies? It looks like connection is a bit slow. Dilrukshan, you hear me?
So, I can hear you.
Okay, now it's fine, Dilrukshan.
Yeah.
So did you want me to quickly repeat the question? My question is, what is
Yes.
your
Right.
thinking about companies demanding that the employees should be entrepreneurial as well? At least they should possess the entrepreneurial mindset. What's your stance there? Is it a
Right.
necessity? If so, how can we ensure that as employees we possess the right skills?
Right. So every entrepreneur is one day going to be a business leader. So that's where I would start. So what
Hmm.
companies are expecting today by having an entrepreneurial mindset is you take full responsibility of what you do. Maybe you are head of the department. So when you have entrepreneurial mind, this is where you are looking at three things. You are looking at the revenue of the department, you are looking at the cost of the department, and also on the profitability. So if each and every manager or each and every leader can become an entrepreneur, this is where you are going to be a profit center. This is where you are going to create profits. So at the end of the day, when one day you get an opportunity to run a big business, or when you get an opportunity to even go to a subsidiary and become a general manager or CEO, this is where the real entrepreneurship comes. You are supposed to handle an entire business operation. So a company is expecting you to have an entrepreneurial mindset. It's purely because they want to see that you are someone who can take responsibility of whatever you do and ensure you are using the minimum resources and giving the maximum output. So that's what they're expecting is. I would say if a company is expecting that, that's a moment where they are giving you an alarm saying, look, you are someone who should able to handle everything on your own. This is where goes the limelight to you. Because you are given an opportunity to think like an entrepreneur. I see what is today carving for entrepreneurship. But if a company is giving it in a platform and say, here's entrepreneurship opportunity, handle your own business or handle your own segment or department, I would humbly ask you to start there because this is going to be a limelight for you where you can start things, practice, see the good side and the bad side of things. There's a big difference between you trying everything on your own and when you are trying something with the support of a big resource panel. So when the companies are providing the resources, when they're only asking you to give leadership and to make a business a successful one, take it and that's the company who definitely have a view on you because they want to bring it to the top management. That's why I always say when people ask me to come and teach entrepreneurship for managers, the number one thing I always tell is your company is focusing on building leaders. This is where they're trying to build. So what they want to build is they want to think for you to think like an entrepreneur, whatever the function you're handling, start looking at a business. Look at how much am I spending, how much am I earning, how much is the profitability, am I having the right team, am I having the right system? So you become like a CEO in your own department. That's at the whole notion, that's what the company is expecting to do.
Excellent, excellent. I'm with you. I totally agree with what you're saying because personally, right, when not that everyone would be having entrepreneurial mindset as employees, but at least there will be people triggered by similar thinking patterns, right? For example, now personally, I'm someone who look for challenging opportunities where I can do a bit of innovation the way I work and the processes, stuff like that. So I think
Yeah.
if the companies can encourage such behavior within me, I think I'm at my best, right? So it is also important that I mean some people are not ready to just sit and do what is being told, right? So I think this is where entrepreneurial mindset really comes handy, right? Because if someone has constant thinking process to innovate and come up with the various ways to optimize the way we work, optimize the
Yeah.
product that we are producing, I think that's where the entrepreneurial mindset will really apply.
True.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we have one great question from one of our LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is it. Let me pull that. Yes, Tanya, thank you very much for your question. I'm going to bring that on screen. Tanya's question is how to identify the right target customers, Dilrukshan. So I think customer segmentation is one. So with this question, Dilrukshan, do you want to tackle the business modeling? Should entrepreneurs,
Okay.
particularly the ones who are starting, should they think of overall modeling, right? Business
Yeah.
modeling in terms of looking at all the aspects, not just customer segmentation, right? But also things like what is the exact value proposition that the company has, right? So what are the products,
Yeah.
what are the services? Then talking about the cost structure, right? Do you want to touch base on that, like as a kind of a basic step for anyone who wants to start their entrepreneurship journey?
Sure, Erosion. Let's simplify both the questions. So, thank you, Tanya, for posting that question. So, what I would like to say is now every entrepreneurship business need to have a strike a proper business model. This is where either you should, all the people who are very young, I always tell you, either you should build a business model to be based on your experience. Now, for me, I was in the corporate sector engineer, so I know what the PNL is, what marketing is, what everything before I started my entrepreneurship journey. But still, I'll be very honest with you. First year, it was like my very tough for me because I had to sit in the other side. I was on more of a getting salary, whereas now I'm paying salary. So now here, each and every penny which I'm spending, I need to be very cautious. So you need to understand there are three things that I always want you to focus. First one is revenue. How are you constantly focusing on revenue? So when we go inside revenue, first one it comes is the product. Yeah, do you have one product, two product, three products? Because you can have become a mass product solution company. You can become a someone who's providing mass solutions where everybody can purchase, or you can come and say that your unique selling proposition is this. Now there are people today. Now I'll tell you, I have two business ventures. My first business venture is the winning series, where we design series, covering letter, LinkedIn profile, career coaching. So within the 4 years, we started from Sri Lanka, but today we are available in 4 countries. So yeah, we have the Asia's largest career coaching company. Yeah, we are coaching about 4,500 people on an annual basis, where they get different, solve different issues. So what we have understood is we have two different products. Mostly our CV covering letter and review before we have done different packaging. There's an executive product, there's a C-suite product, there's a senior manager product. So everybody who reach us, we understand that we give a solution which is catered to them. So you need to understand who's your target market. Are you going to go mass? Now looking at my next business model where I'm talking is engaged, where I'm only talking to startup entrepreneurs and business leaders in the company. So my target segment is different there. So I only see, comment everything based on that. Now the biggest mistake based on Tanya's question, what I see is most of the people are unable to clearly understand who is going to be a target segment. So what I want you to do is take a paper, put a price tag to your product, and see who is ready to purchase your product. If somebody is earning 100,000 rupees and your product is 10,000 rupees, your product is about 10% of the cost. What about if the person is earning 300,000 rupees? It's about almost about 3% of the cost. So this is where you need to understand. You have to put your product pricing and see who the customer can afford. This is why you will crack the target segment. Now I'll tell you there are certain products who we serve which is at a high end. If I'm going and selling that product, we want to get everybody want to become a CEO, come and get that coaching product from us. But if I'm selling this CEO product to everybody, what happens is people might come and say, Dilrukshan, are expensive. Dilrukshan, this product is not for me. I can't spend 6 weeks, six coaching sessions to become a CEO. Whereas there is a particular segment which we communicate. We know what are their demographics, where this segment they are coming from, where do they spend their time on. So we track all those statistics and do target marketing based on that. So my marketing team, what they do is for each and every product in terms of new seeds or engage, we have our own targeting strategies. For us, our startup market is very different. For our executive leadership coaching market is very different. If you don't understand the importance of customer segmentation, what we will do is you will go to social media. You will be a company with just marketing from maybe 18 to 35, 20 to 45. You'll be just going on a big segment. So what are you doing is just spending a lot of money to speaking to people who don't want to purchase your product. Not everybody is going to pick your product promotion and just come on. So everybody, starting from a YouTube hotel to everyone, you need to understand who is the customer, who has money, and who has authority, and who has a need for your product. So I call it the man concept. And then what happens is you need to understand, are you properly communicating to them? If you are constantly communicating to them, yes, they will come and buy from you. But if you are a mass product, maybe the proposition is very high, the cost is very high, people might say you're expensive. So first one, I would say, identify your target customer segment and do all your marketing from there. Second point I would like to say, you need to understand customer feedback matters. I also believe this again. When you put out a product, when you put out a marketing, always go and check your analytics, check your metrics, because see what's happening, how many people the product has reached, how many people have clicked, how many people have come for the conversion, how many people are on the sales funnel. This is where you need to constantly on an entrepreneur, you need to understand you have to work with analytics. That's the only way it's going to give you feedback to the people will love the promotion or not. Just because you put a 20% off or just because you put a buy one get one free, it's not gonna hit for everybody. Each product is gonna be different. So my humble request is first one, identify your target customer segment, take a pen and paper, design whom you are going to sell, constantly communicate to them because today what I understood is the more a customer sees your product, the opportunity of buying is high. If you are someone who's running 4 promotions per month, the customer is going to see you 4 times. If you're going to run one promotion on a month, the customer is only going to see one time. If, maybe a customer has a need, but you always make a conscious call to make purchases. If your product is constantly being seen, yes, that's where a customer comes. So there are two ways you can sell. I always say this. One thing is we speak to customers, do cold calling and everything. That's one way. Second one I call the knife strategy. The knife is not asking you to come by calling you and say come and purchase your product. They are bringing you to the store and issue your purchase. So either create a brand and we ensure that people are coming and purchasing you. Either you might have to use the push strategy. The certain industries are there push has to be there, certain industries pull has to be there. So you need to understand your customer segment, what is your channel of marketing, what's the age group, demographics, which countries you want to become. Also, finally, ensure your marketing strategies are completely focused towards it. Tanya, I hope I answered your question and anything notion that I can add more.
All right. Thank you for that, Tanya. Hopefully, we answered your question. If you have any further questions, please put them on the comments segments. We will pick it up. So we also have a question from Rochelle. Rochelle, we are going to pick it up very soon. It's a really good question, but I'll wait for the right moment. Yeah. So Dilrukshan, now the next segment that I want to touch base on is competencies, right? Now, I go into universities as various professional crowds and do keynote speaking to the entrepreneurs and the people who are eager to be entrepreneurs. One thing that I observe is that at times having that passion, having that greater desire to be great and become entrepreneurs, I observe that some don't possess the right to start with the mindset, right? And also it goes down into the must-have competencies that they have to have as entrepreneurs. So I want to kind of ask you about a few questions on this. So the very first question is, now if I'm just displaying that on the screen, what are the competencies one should possess to become an entrepreneur? So let's focus on the top three competencies from you. So what are the top three competencies that you recommend for anyone who wants to be a great entrepreneur?
Yeah. First one, I would say the business acumen skills. I'll go in depth. What is the business acumen skills? Now, entrepreneurship is where you're gonna be on your own, trying to sell a product to customers, make money, and create a business model out of it. You need certain acumen skills here. This is where first one I call market sensing. If you are someone who's constantly reading articles, constantly be updated on what you are doing, you'll be constantly seeing a lot of trends happening in the market. There are loads of opportunities currently there in the market that you can create solutions. That's the first one. Second one, you need to be a bit of innovative in terms of business acumen because taking an idea and creating a product is a different ballgame. You need to understand your idea might be big, but this is where the execution comes. You need to break down the short steps and see what product can I sell initially. Because not everybody will be suddenly coming and purchasing from you. So you might have to first launch with a small product. You need to understand if you are telling your customers, look, I'm someone who's having this business. This is my product where anybody can come and purchase and see how good you are. Now let's, for example, think of there are certain products. If McDonald's wants you to come and just see, there is a product called McDonald's of Asia, a product called Snacker, which is at a low budget. Why is McDonald's putting that product at 250 rupees or below? It's just McDonald's wants you to walk into that place, try to see what's around. Maybe you will take a French fries or maybe a Coke along with it, and just to get that atmosphere. But if McDonald's pricing style is at 680 rupees or 700 rupees, this is where you might wait a long time to walk into McDonald's, see what McDonald's is all about. So first and foremost, as an entrepreneur, you need to understand, you need to have the skills of business acumen, which is where you need to have a bit of sensing on the market on what really customers want. Second one, you need to ensure you have creativity skills of designing products and solutions. There is no one right product which you can always sell. You need to constantly design creating solutions. Third one, I would say under business acumen skills, you should be good on designing business models. So you should understand on a month-on-month basis, you're going to work on different tasks. This is where your marketing skills come, your sales skills come, your financial skills come. I'm not asking everybody to be a team suddenly, but when you start things, start properly. There are people when I coach, when I ask questions like, okay, how much is your marketing budget? They have no clue about it. Who's going to sell about it? They say, we don't know how to sell. And what is your finance? How are you managing? What is your profit margin? Now, this is what are called business acumen skills. This is what you teach at an MBA and this is what you learn at an MBA. Now, going and having an MBA and the title is not going to do anything to you. Everything what you learn in MBA, come and start applying. Apply the 4 to 5 model. Apply the SWOT model. These are the fundamentals of business. Second one is communication skills. You need to understand whether you like it or not. You have to communicate with three stakeholders. First one is your team, where you have to constantly communicate with the team from a leadership point of view. Second one is your customers. You need to understand when customers reach you, there's someone who will be always available for them. Now, third one is your stakeholders. You might have investors coming in, you might have directors coming in, partners coming in, you might just communicate with them. So, to customers, you might have to pitch your product. With your team, you might have to talk to them and see how best you can take their value out of it. And the stakeholders, you have to create on how much profit you are going to generate. The first one is business acumen skills. Second one, communication skills. Third one, I call the risk appetite, right? If you are someone who's not willing to take a risk, right? If you're someone who's not having that skill of taking things, trying it out, and ensuring that you face the good things and bad things, don't start entrepreneurship business. Because if you're expecting everything to be good, everything to be better for you, it won't happen. There are ups and downs in the first couple of years. When you get established, years you are running on a real MBA. People will be commenting good things about you, bad things about you, your competitors will do different things, your family and friends will constantly say, are you crazy? Why do you leave this job? This is not an easy thing. There's a lot of negative things come. But you should have that thick skin. This is what I call, where you have to face everything and you need to understand you are here to achieve a goal. You are here to build a business. You need to be always thinking, I will become successful one day and I will prove that the decision which I made is correct. But if you are someone who's constantly making this decision like, did I take the right decision? Did I make the right move? Is this a tough game? If you are constantly doubting yourself, doubting the product and everything, it's going to bring you down. I'll call these negative vampires, right? So I'm not saying be 100% positive, but I would say try to be positive. Understand this is not a better process. First couple of years you need to go through the hassle, then you can enjoy the luxury. Till you launch your product properly, till you get a business model right, till you get your team ready, things will be done. After that is where you can enjoy a lot of benefits. So have the business acumen skills, have communication skills, and have the risk appetite skills. These are the three skills erosion I would recommend anyone who's starting entrepreneurship business.
Love it, love it. I love the third one. Yeah, so I think this is one thing that holds back people. Most of the people who are dreaming to be entrepreneurs, but they are not taking that step to take risk, right? So there's this magical statement that I came across a few years ago. If you don't take risk, you don't grow, right? So I mean, it's inevitable that anyone who wants to grow have to take risk. There's no other way around, right? So also sorry.
Question. Now I have started now this I also learned from someone who's coaching me. So I have learned the categorization for entrepreneurs. There are three types of people who are in the market today. First one, we call, I have already done a video on this, we call the entrepreneurs. These people are people who have a lovely idea, but in this, they are thinking negative. There are people who are thinking they will start a business once COVID is over. They will start a business when the economy turns around. They will start a business maybe on the second quarter, third quarter. So they always, come up with excuses not to start a business. These people have skills, have the business knowledge, but something in them, because maybe they are referring to wrong people, I call these people entrepreneurs. The second people are the dreamers, I call these entrepreneurs. These people forever dream about entrepreneurship, forever dream about building business, But because they don't want to start, something is pushing them back because they are the people who are always looking for the good times and everything. These people are forever dreamers. And the finally the 10% is there, they look at a market, identify a problem, create a solution, and they take the first step of starting a business. I have salute for them. Those are the people I call the entrepreneurs. So there might be entrepreneurs here, and there might be entrepreneurs here. If you are whatever the category is, the difference between a entrepreneur, entrepreneur is taking action. That's the only difference. So I'm just adding some limelight to your question.
Lovely, lovely. So that's a great value addition. So I remember your LinkedIn post on it. I pretty much loved it, right? So because not that everyone is executing their plans, right? So yes, so if you want to be an entrepreneur, just remember what Dilrukshan has been telling for the last few minutes, and it's absolutely crucial. And today I did a talk to the University of Jaffna together with my colleague Heminda, few colleagues actually, Heminda and Hasan Kapaduka, who are great minds, right, in the country. One thing one slide stuck in my mind from Heminda's presentation. He ended up his presentation about innovation for entrepreneurs, saying if you want to do great as entrepreneurs, there are 3 pillars that you have to follow. Number 1, vision. You have to the one who is thinking long term, right? So if you have a very short term vision, I mean, you are not probably to succeed. I mean, every one of us have long dreams, not the vision, right? So you have to refine it up to a level it becomes a vision. The second thing is passion, right? Now, why I do this complimentary, spending my personal time, and why you join this. When I invited, hey, Dilrukshan, let's do a live talk together. That's our passion, right? If you don't have any passion towards what we are doing here, we would do a pretty monotonous job, right? Dull job.
Yeah.
So that's key, right? So vision, then we have a vision, right? We both of us have very clear articulated vision ourselves, that we know that what we do here is very much connected to that. So we need to keep doing that, right? The third thing is the discipline, right? So this is absolutely nailing. And when I look back, right, my 40 plus years life journey, one thing that kept me in the game is just that discipline. If I did not have enough discipline, I would have quit talking 10 years ago when I failed miserably as a lecturer, right? Dilrukshan, to tell you, right? So it's first 3 years, failures after failures, day in, day out. My students hated me, right? But at one point, I figured that it started working for me, right? So if I did not have these 3 things in my, life, my profile, I wouldn't have been here, right? Now, how it is connected to the entrepreneurship? Again, now, when you start figuring out that you're good at something, you can start selling. Now, I sell my speeches, right? I do talks internationally. I sell. So this is where the entrepreneurship mindset comes in. Otherwise, I'm a corporate employee. I work for a corporate. I work for a company, right? But at the same time, I have the opportunity to innovate the way I work individually, and then look for my value proposition, and then ensure that I move towards becoming an entrepreneur one day, right? So your strategy might differ, your timeline might differ, but I think every one of you have to have entrepreneurial mindset. Otherwise, you are going to be pretty stagnated. The only possible thing that you could do is, it's not the greatest thing to do. You end up being a government officer, right, or someone in that sort, right? Just waiting for your salary, which is just not enough for living a good life, right? And that's it, right? So that's not going to work, right? So keep those things in mind, and we hope it's somewhat useful. Okay, let's move on. So we have 15 minutes, Dilrukshan. In these 15 minutes, I have few more questions, right? Maybe let's bring up before I forget. Sorry, Dilrukshan, you wanted to say something?
You go ahead. No problem.
Let's bring up the question from Rochelle, right? This is, I think I also have some insight into this, but I would like to first hear from you, Dilrukshan. The question is, I often come across people who copy the business ideas of others and replicate the same. What is your recommendation to overcome such copycats?
Right. So, copying is one of the things I constantly get questioned on. People copy content, ideas, product, marketing strategies. No, it's a big social. What you need to understand is there are loads of people today. They come and tell what Uber is doing. I have that idea in my mind. What people is doing, I have that idea in my mind. So what I ask them is, what did you do with that idea? So they will either say, I was speaking to my friends and everything. So I always say, product to execution, the time should be shorter because today we are working on a competitive way. Now today I might have a super idea. I can't expect that I can only have. That's one slide. Second thing is there might be similar people who are thinking like that. There might be someone whoever puts first to the market wins the game. So if you have an idea, quickly create a product out of it just when launching the market. Believe on me, everybody is going to copy you. Come and if your business is successful, there will be loads of people around. Let's say that you are someone, a female, you want to start your own business or some certain product. And if you are become successful, there are loads of females are going to come. What they can copy is maybe they might copy your strategies on what you are doing on digital marketing. They can copy whatever the post you are doing, but the only thing they can't copy is the skill. So it's about a skill game. Whoever is starting a business, just because they copy your product, they might be just another person in the market, but what they can't copy is your skill. So don't worry about copycats. Everywhere there are copycats. Trust me, there are people who copy other people's LinkedIn banners. There are people who copy other people's Instagram posts and just post it. There are so many people just take from Instagram and post on LinkedIn and try to get likes and highlights via video. So a lot of people are just try to become a brand just because of others' opinions, what others are posting and everything. So whoever is authentic always wins. I trust, I believe if you do the right things, always right things will happen to you. So here don't get disheartened. When you see somebody is copying your post and just go and like it. That's what I do. Just like it. Say good post or something. Yeah, they know that you have noticed it's copied. But don't go and fight and everything because then you might have to constantly fighting. Now there are people who are in the big platform today who we go and see as big leaders. There are so many people who are copying their content. Only thing they might even see, they might see, okay, someone. The moment somebody is copying your content, okay, that's the authenticity that you are doing things right. So I'm giving you a thumbs up. If somebody is copying already your content, be happy. Whatever you are doing, continue to do because you are doing right. That's why people are copying you. And whatever you are doing, creating results also. And only way that you can do, keep on doing whatever you are doing. And if you are so worried about other people copying, go and like it. Just say good post. That's enough. That's the only thing you can do. Don't worry about copying. But idea to execution, make your time shorter. Don't keep ideas in your mind. Quickly sit on it, create a business model, and create the relevant results what you need and put it at the market because everybody today want to earn a lot of money. Everybody today would like to become entrepreneur. Everybody today would like to start their business. So you can't stop someone else starting something. Only thing what you can do is quickly launch your business and make it on your own. So everyone owns the domain. So very few, very future we all are going to have problems of registering our business because all the nice names will be taken. So very soon, whatever you are doing, start your business. Whoever copies, don't worry, keep doing what you are doing. You are doing it right. That's why people are copying, and just embrace it and move forward.
Excellent. I love that thought because this is exactly what I would advise. Just because someone copy your idea, they are not gonna do great because they just end up doing the same thing, right, in their life. Because you have a better strategy, I guess, right? Execute that, and what they lack is that, right? So I just seeing your idea, they can't do much, right? They might just replicate the same idea, but their strategy might not take them a long way, right? But again, as Dilrukshan mentioned, it's very competitive, right? There can be a smart company just watching you very closely, implement the same idea just before you get to the market. Now, that is a high risk. That is a high risk. So, Dilrukshan from, I basically coach organizations on agile and lean mindset, right? So this is where the concept called minimal viable product comes into play. So you know what you have to plan the earliest possible time to get to the market. So time to market is a very key measure nowadays. So if you spend years and years planning your perfect product, it's not going to work, right? There will be a lot of competitors who come and dominate your market. So this is also another branding strategy, right? So basically, you can dominate that segment, being the first mover, right? So your strategy could be becoming a first mover than a second mover, right, or a follower. So I think Dilrukshan nailed it. Just wanted to add my perspective into it. Yeah. Okay. So
just adding some line that people always remember the first mover. People will always go, okay, this was this person's product, right? That's how they call it. Whoever becomes successful is a different ball game, but first mover will be always remembered.
Agree. Yeah. Okay, so moving on. So we have one more question from Kalpa. I will keep that for some time. Kalpa, we are going to pick it up soon. Wait for that. So the next question I have for you is about the challenges, right? Now, what are the top 3 challenges that entrepreneurs should take care of? Now, because we also themed our talk, why 90% of entrepreneurs fail, right? Now, why? The question is, what are the challenges that entrepreneurs go through? If you can touch on the solution also, same time, that will be great. Dilrukshan.
Right. The first one I call the entrepreneur's trap. So what every entrepreneur is doing today, you're coming out, you're starting a business, which has a huge respect of it, and you are trying to do everything on your own. Now imagine my situation. Now I'm a coach. I do coaching in the morning hours and also the evening hours. While coaching, if I'm the only person who's gonna handle all functions in my business, what's gonna happen to the rest of the things? Now while I'm coaching, somebody calls me, I'm not reachable. So the customer is calling you to do a closing with you, business you're not reachable, it's not day to a deal. Second one, you need to understand the business has parallel lines. While you are doing your marketing, the sales has to happen. While you're doing the sales, operations has to happen. While you are doing operations, your financing has to happen. So first one, I call the entrepreneur step or the startup step where people will think they want to do everything on their own. These where people work for 18, 20 hours, sleep for 4 hours, they're so tired. So you need to understand there are certain functions you are good in it and certain functions you might just get expertise there. Maybe a freelancer, maybe someone who wants well. This is where you need to get their expertise also coming. So you can't be an expert in everything. If somebody is saying, okay, I'll design my post, I'll do the marketing, I'll do the sales calls also, and I'll handle the finance, finally I'll operate, I'll give value to the customers, that won't happen. So whatever you are doing good, do whatever you think you need expertise there. Either if you are thinking to at a startup level, either you work with some freelancers, get their expertise and become successful. That's one. Second one, most of the people are thinking it's a short or it's a very short-term game. It's not at all a short-term game. Please understand entrepreneurship takes time. Just because now I was in the corporate sector working for all leading corporates in Sri Lanka for 15 years. Then I came and started. I started from zero. This is the humble truth. I started from zero and when I'm trying to reach corporates in terms of my programs and everything that I was doing on my first year. I understood the fact, okay, just because you just come out of a corporate, you start your business, nobody's going to come and help you next year. There might be a handful of friends who will give you as support, but you can't be ordering and saying, okay, all will help you. So before you come and start your business, have a cash flow ready. At least 6 to 8 months of if your expenses are taken care. If you can apply for a bank loan, get that capital funding comes in, this is why you are not stressed. Now, today I meet a lot of startup entrepreneurs who are unable to pay their own bills, who are unable to withdraw a salary, who have not gone for a housing or a tour or a family dinner because they are going to put up. Their entire family is looking at and they are waiting for that big day that he's going to make money which can cover his costs plus also some savings. This is where I would say 6 to 8 months and minimum, at least have your cash flows ready, yeah, you need to understand. First, you need to come and invest on your business. Then only you can gain profits. Without investing, without doing anything, without taking any action, without being consistent, you won't have. So first one, ensure that you create a proper business model which has all functions running at the same time. Second one, ensure that you have a capital cash inflow or capital funding where you don't need to be worried about day-to-day expenses. If you are planning from the first month itself to gain profits and pay your bills and everything, it's not going to happen. It might take some time. Third one, be consistent in whatever you do. There is nothing called a successful which is straightforward. I always call success is shabby. You need to go up and down, go up and down. Constantly, people will give you recommendations, constantly people will give you complaints. Just embrace it. If somebody is calling you and saying, look, I took your product, this is good, embrace it. And meanwhile, when somebody is saying, look, I took your product, I'm not happy because the price point was high, the value is not great, just engage customer feedback. If you are someone who's gonna have this attitude, look, I'm not gonna talk to customers, I'm a CEO, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm not gonna get involved in hands-on business. For the first 3 years, this is what most of the people do. They give all the responsibility to others and they come and sit in the big seat thinking, it's about just managing people. Entrepreneurship is about you coming in the front, becoming the brand, putting yourself out and making a business out of it. It's not a bad game, it's a very front-end role. If you are trying to become a back end, what happens is you will never know what customers want, you will never create products, you will never constantly change your strategies, you'll be just another person doing business, and you will never enjoy supernatural profits also. So everybody is here to earn money. First one, ensure your business model is right, ensure all functions happening at the same time, whatever you are doing good, do properly. Second one, add some cash inflows already before you start a business. Just because your boss scores, just because you don't get a promotion tomorrow morning, coming and starting is not a solution. I'm telling you, I came from corporate and started on my own, so it's not going to work. So ensure you have a proper cash flow to fund your business. Third one, ensure that you constantly be the front end person, don't be a back end person, involved in the business, speak to customers, speak to your team and anything, and ensure that you be there for them. Till you build a business model, be the front end. Maybe once you become a build a business model, when your team is operating on your own, you can take the back end and do. Right? But if you don't get these things properly done, this is where a lot of things can happen. Consistency is the key. Whatever you are doing, constantly do it. Over to you, Dilrukshan.
Right. Excellent. I have nothing to add. I think you nailed it very, very descriptively. Thank you for that. So time is kind of ending, but let me ask you the last few questions, Dilrukshan. Just
Yeah.
quick time check. I have not planning to extend it too long, but few minutes. Is that fine with you?
Sure. Completely
Okay.
fine. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Now, it's important that we look at the questions from the audience. So we have few questions. Let's try to pick some of them. We have one question from Kalpa. I think it's a good question because I think Kalpa would like to seek some advices around it because he owns a very successful software business, right? So Kalpa, thanks for posting the question. The question is how to find the right management staff required for a startup company. Just kidding. You can actually tell us, invite us. So Kalpa, that's a joke, right? So Dilrukshan, over to you.
Right. So, Kal, I would say design the business model first. Put marketing, sales, human resources, finance, and if you want research and development, also everything, and see what are the departments which you can do very well. They are with your time. Those things keep in hands on because those are your expertise area. Now, I'll tell you, in my business, there are certain things which I do. Okay, for example, speaking to clients, doing the coaching sessions and everything. Whereas I have a team who's back running the entire operation. There's a person who's head of operations who runs the entire head of operations for my company because what I did was I didn't promote him at one. He joined me at a very basic level. He has been 4 years now, and from there, that's why I went through the entire transformation journey, gained the trust, he knows in and out of the operations, and he's there. And we have another person who's in charge of the entire recruitment. So I either don't speak to companies and recruitment or either do operations. started, both these people were at a very small level with me. What I always believe also, people come to you for two things why they join a company. First one is a career growth. Ensure you start take them and constantly improve them in your career. Second one is the financial growth. If you are giving these two, there will be a lot of loyal employees to you. But meanwhile, if you are a startup, I have another request to you. There are a lot of freelancers who is working out with top talent, right? Rather than taking someone permanent, if you think your work can be on project basis, work with a lot of freelancers. But I always say the cost is very low, and also you can ensure that they give their best because they also want to work with you on long term. So this is their best will come to you. Plus also you can ensure that you are managing your cash flows better. If your cash flows are good, take some top people. Now I ensure that after 3 years, one of my clients recently recruited a digital marketing guy after 3 years. But the first 3 years we were working with different digital marketing agencies because we want to ensure cash flow is right. So two options. One thing, recruit staff, but at an internship level or below level, who are very good quality, and ensure that you are looking after them in terms of their career growth and financial growth. Second one is what I want to do is work with freelancers who have already have a good record of doing this because the cost might be very low and they also will give that 200% just to ensure you are successful. Depend on your business model culture, you can select which way is your way forward.
Nice. Thank you again. So the next question again from one of our LinkedIn participants. I think you know her very much. Dilrukshan, Shanaya.
Yeah.
Maybe I will pick it up because I'm already in that context, right? Somewhat, right? So the question is, Shanaya, I also did a quick LinkedIn reply. So your question is, do you recommend to start your own business while you are working for a corporate? So it's a tricky question for me, right? There's no straight answer. It all depends on your context, right? I couldn't do it, I haven't done it, properly also until now, right? Simply because, when you're full time on something, one thing you don't want to do is to mess that up, right? Because if you take up a full-time job, you need to ensure that you pay your fullest attention into that particular job so that you are not guilty, right? Personally, one thing you need not do is shouldn't do is working on your entrepreneurship business while you're working, right? I mean, it's very very difficult to strike the right balance. But that said, if you have the right discipline, if you are passionate about a different idea, when you reach certain seniority level, right, you probably can venture into your entrepreneurship journey as a side hustle, right? So in my case, it's a side hustle than the main revenue generation machine, right? So in that process, actually, I'm being very successful in certain companies. I have had that discussion very specifically to ensure that I create that visibility even before I join. Right, in my interview itself, I would emphasize that, hey, I have a little thing going in the background. These are the reasons, right? Particularly, like, if you look at my entrepreneurship journey, it's mainly around speaking and facilitation, right? I don't do any consultation for the moment because I simply don't have time. But I have ventured into personal coaching where I coach people at my leisure time, right? So it's a kind of a very tricky area, Shanaya, for me. So you probably need to figure out the right context for you and then come up with a model that doesn't contradict, right? As long as both don't contradict, I know it should be totally fine. That said, most of the Sri Lankan companies are anti-entrepreneurship mindset. So if the moment you see someone is an entrepreneur, they reject you, right? So just take care of that as well. Okay, so Dilrukshan, anything that you want to add quickly on that?
Right. So I think Shaya and Dilrukshan also touched upon some of the topics which I want to touch. Don't start. Now I will give an example. Let's say that if you are from a delivery company who's working as head of operations to someone, don't go and start another delivery company and just start. What you're doing is you are contradicting both business, and there's an opportunity that if they get to know, they can even go against you. But if you are someone who's having a small dream of starting your own business in terms of a cookery or something, but I'll tell you how I started. When I first and foremost want to start my recruitment company, I'll give a live example to you. I went and spoke to my boss. I was working for a big corporate and I was heading a certain department. I said, look, I have this passion. I don't know whether it will be successful or not, but I want to start and see if it's successful. Definitely, I'm going to tell you. But the only thing I'm going to tell you is I'm not going to work with any of the competitors. He said, I really like your attitude. You start anything, but ensure that you don't work with any competitors and you make it a HR issue. As far there's no complaint, my blessings are there for you. And when I became successful in that business model, this is where I came and I told him that, look, I have started my business. Within a short time, within 6 months, this guy it has reached. What do you want me to do? So this is one of the rare people who are there. He said, if you are an entrepreneur, he said, I'm an entrepreneur. I want you to become an entrepreneur one day. With my blessings, you can start your own business. But it was more of a communication. I was very clear. I was never hiding anything. I was always ready to give them everything, all statistics if they want in terms of my business model, because I don't want to do because that was my bread and butter at that time. It was feeding me, so I didn't want to go against that and do. But always communicate. But for that you need to have a boss who's like a blissful boss like who I had. If you have someone like that, he will definitely bless you. Now today I tell you two of my staff as their own entrepreneurship unit. Okay, so but they came and told me, look, I want to start I want to start a YouTube channel. Another person said, I want to start a cookery channel. I said, go ahead and start. My blessings are there all for you. I say, get the same thing. Don't start a complementary business. It's gonna contradict you. Otherwise, you all have all the journey because after COVID-19, I know this is there in everybody's mind. You want to have a side as well, which gives you extra income. Start the side hustle, like Dilrukshan said also, be hustling, but ensure it's not making an issue out of it. One day when you expand, that your boss also should be clapping at you saying, look, he was one of our employees, we made a big business out of it. Simple as that. Thank you.
Thank you for adding into that, Dilrukshan. Appreciate it. It's great insights personally, right? So, one reason I invited you is also to have that, constructive discussion together with you, just to pick each other's brain. Yeah. So I think what the discussion we bring up here is really practical, right? So we are not kind of preaching. We are just talking about what is going in our journey as entrepreneurs. In my case, I'm a corporate, but trying to do certain things on the entrepreneurship area as well, right? Which don't contradict with what I do in my corporate job. So I would say, it's always finding that win-win situation, right? So look for that win-win within the context you are in. So as Dilrukshan said, you have to be transparent about what you're doing. You need to bring up that discussion very, very specifically, and then ensure that everyone is aware. Don't let someone feel like, okay, you are doing something in the background that they never know. That's killing your corporate journey. That's killing your values as well, right? So you don't have to get there. So I think, Dilrukshan, we should end up this. I have the last question for you, which is a very critical one. So let me fire that off. So this one is absolutely crucial. Now, to wrap up the talk, what I want to ask you is the top 3 recommendations that you can offer to the entrepreneurs to be successful, right? I'm just asking, like, Gary Vayner, tell me the top 3 recommendations, right? You're going to nail it, I know.
Okay. So I'll give a model notion which I recommend everyone. I call it the win-win-win model, right? If you want
Right.
to become any business, it can be applied to any business. If you want to become successful, apply the win-win model. There are 3 segments in your business. First one is your employees. Treat employees as the number one. You will never go wrong in a business. Employees join you for 2 things. One is career growth. Ensure every employee joins you have a career path. They are crystal clear on each and every stage what they need to do in terms of qualification and experience. So their career will grow. They will stay with you. Second one is financial growth. People would like to enjoy financial benefits. As an entrepreneur, try to constantly with how can you get constant reward your employees, because then they will get 100% back to you. So first win is going to be employees. Second win is going to be a stakeholder. Now, if there is someone who is part of your business, let that be a partner or let it be investor, you have a responsibility of investing that money properly and also giving it back the return. The first part is employees, second one is stakeholder. And I would humbly say every entrepreneur starting a business, design a salary for you and every month draw it. That's the only way you can go. So from a stakeholder point of view, they want to go financial growth, they want to see brand growth, they want to see customer growth also. So first, make happy the employees, second, make sure the stakeholders, and third segment is customers. If you are not treating your customers well, if you're not adding value to your customers, my principle is if somebody is paying 100 rupees to me, I want to give you 105 rupees, 110 rupees back, more value anything else, people will constantly recommend you. You don't need to run behind people, people will constantly recommend you, people will write reviews about you. Now, we work in a winning CV model in a way we want to ensure we don't ask for testimonials, the customers write to us. Each and every person gets a job to us, they write to us and say how we have helped them. That's what our key drivers is. So ensure customers, employees, and stakeholders, including you, all these segments are going, you will never go wrong in your business. Customers are happy, you and the stakeholders are happy, plus the employees are happy. This is my strategy, win, win, win. I have adapted this two business model, extremely successful today. Because of this, I would ask everybody who's here who want to start their business, approach the win, win, win model. If there's anything you want to know more about win, 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 either reach to Dilrukshan or me, we are happy to help you with. Dilrukshan, I think you're on mute.
I'm muted, sorry. Yeah, thank you very much, Dilrukshan. Personally, this is what I think right now. I will, usually this happens when I have a very inspiring discussion myself with a person like you, I would listen to the same talk numerous times, multiple times. So it's going to happen in this regard. And I'm sure, this talk is pretty straight on the topic, right? We did not talk any unnecessary stuff. There's no fat involved here. It's just the lean stuff, right? Where we basically wanted to straight away jump into the burning questions that we all go through as entrepreneurs or people who are keen to become entrepreneurs. So that's all what we have to offer for the day. Dilrukshan, so again, I am going to ask you your final message. Now, you're going to sum up everything that you know about entrepreneurship. Tell us one sentence that will stuck in our listeners and participants' mind. What is that single message that you have for the community?
So my message is, you might be working for a corporate, government job or entrepreneur. Do whatever you want, but ensure you will have something unique on you. Everybody is blessed with a unique skill. Identify that skill and work on that. You will reach great height in your career, whatever the things happen to you. So always identify what you are good at, constantly embark on it, then see how well your job or whatever you are doing. So that work is going to be your passion. It's no more stress for you.
Excellent. So this is my single message. It is inspired by what Tony Robbins always say. 80% of your success is your belief. The moment you start believing yourself that you can be a great entrepreneur, that's the start. And that is the key aspect. According to Tony Robbins, it's 80% of your success. The rest of the 20 is your mechanics, right? That is your strategy, how you're going to go about it. So do that, ensure that you start believing yourself more than you are happy of, right? That is the number one thing. So when you start believing that you are that person who can be a great entrepreneur, great person for this country and the globe, that is the starting point of your greatness. And I'm sure your mechanics and the strategies that you start mastering will help you a journey, right? So with that, we are going to end up the talk. Thank you very much, Dilrukshan, for your time. It's really appreciated, because I have a lot of gratitude towards those who are accepting their presence in these complimentary discussions, because personally, we all earn a lot of money, spending this time, right? But sacrificing that personal time, not expecting anything, coming and presenting here just sake of benefiting people is absolutely appreciated. Yeah, thank you again for that. Hope to see you in another talk. Definitely we have a lot more to discuss, right? Until then, take care, stay safe, and those who are watching us, take care as well. Stay safe and don't stop. Go and chase your dream.
Yes.
Until we see you
Thank
next
you
time.
for inviting. Yes,
Yes,
thank
it's
you
my
so much
pleasure.
for inviting me, and it is truly for a great initiative because you are putting out a lot of content for a lot of emerging entrepreneurs today, and we are talking about a lot of topics. So every successful person is blessed. I think you will be definitely blessed a lot by doing this initiative. Good luck to you and all your team, and wish you a great weekend as well. So see you soon in another episode.
Thank you, Dilrukshan. Take care. We'll see you soon. See you, everyone. Stay
Bye.
safe and may the force be with you. Cheers.